Good afternoon, and welcome to today's Idaho Falls Rotary Club. My name is Gina Stevenson, and I am the president-elect of our club. And thank you for all of our Rotarians and our guests joining us today. The Rotary Club is an international service organization with over 1.2 million members worldwide. We live by the motto, service above self. Now, I did want everyone to know that we are currently accepting memberships for our club. And at this time, we actually have received 2 membership proposals for the following people: Tyler Kropp and Kristen Sanger. This is the second reading of these prospective members per Rotary guidelines. We will read the proposed member names one more time. And if you have comments regarding either of these proposed members, please inform a board member. Now, we have quite a few club announcements, so hang tight because we have an incredible program that you'll want to stay tuned for. So first and foremost, if you haven't checked your email, please realize we have changed the day of our service project cleanup for the Riverwalk and Greenbelt. It was originally scheduled for today. It has now been rescheduled to April 21st, 5:30. There's nothing quite like an Idaho spring to make you change your plans. So look for details in your inbox about that. In April, we will continue to focus our efforts and support of local businesses, particularly those who have supported us during our duck race. Please consider dining or ordering takeout from Cafe Sabor and mentioning that you are a Rotarian. They are a longtime supporter of the duck race, and we would like to thank them for their support. While you're there, please thank them, and again, tell them you're Rotarian so they know that why you're there. In district news, Rotary District 5400 just launched their district raffle. Tickets are only $10 each, and the person who sells the winning ticket also earns the same grand prize, which is incredible because it is a $4,500 travel voucher. So, if you don't already have your district ticket book, let me know. I'll be handing them out at our service project next week. But if you want to increase your chances of earning that prize and maybe earning both prizes for selling the winning ticket and holding the winning ticket, Aaron Johnson would be the person to contact there. He'll be happy to send you an invoice for however many tickets you'd like to purchase. Once that payment's been complete, I will write your name on your ticket and send you a picture of your ticket numbers so you know that you are in that raffle. So extra bonus on this, know that whichever club sells the winning ticket also receives $4,500 for their club for various club projects. That's a really big thing for our club, so please support this district raffle. Speaking of district support, I know for a fact that the vast majority of our members, and that's everyone who's probably watching today, has not filled out their vision facilitation survey. This is a really important survey that's being sent out by District 5400 that we have actually asked for. So this is going to help us plan our strategic plan for the next several years for our club. So if you would like to see us more involved in local projects, please fill out your survey. If you would like to see us more involved in international projects, please fill out your survey. It's really important that you have your voice heard, so the strategic plan for our club is exactly where you want to see it. And then reserve a date on your calendar. It's tentatively scheduled the first week of June, but we are going to be discussing the results and implementing that plan in a 2-hour meeting, and we're really, really excited to get started on this. But again, your voice needs to be heard, so we know how best to plan moving forward. So last but not least, I think everyone knows that we're getting so close to wanting to meet again, but we are continuing our support right now of the Idaho Falls Soup Kitchen with the donations of all of our meals. It's all going there. So we are donating quite a few meals there right now. So please, please, please don't think that your dues are just that we're keeping them. Know that you are supporting local families in need through this time. So now for the exciting part that I know everyone has been waiting for, and that's today's program. To introduce today's program, I would like to invite Mayor Rebecca Casper to introduce our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. It's clear that we're not only in good hands now, but we're going to be in good hands when she takes the helm. And I'm kind of excited for this idea of being a part of a club that has a strategic plan. And I actually am interested in more international service. So I'm kind of excited to see what other club members want. All right, everybody. Today's topic focuses on the Idaho Falls Auditorium District, or sometimes people call it IFAD for short. I'm only taking a moment here to share a few quick thoughts about what a great asset and venue this is going to be for our community. But let me just, don't worry, you're not stuck listening to me the whole time. But I want to just kind of give you a little bit of background. IFAD was established in 2011. There was an election held in, I'm trying to think now, was it 2012? No, it was 2000. Yeah, it was 2011. Election held in May of that year. And that was after working pretty hard to get this put on the ballot. My own children helped man or staff booths and gather signatures and show pictures of what we thought the auditorium might look like, or the event center might look like. Chamber of Commerce took a lead role in helping to get that established, and the studies that were then conducted were very persuasive in terms of making the business case for an event center in our community and on this side of the state. Because even though it would be the Idaho Falls Event Center, when it is built, it's going to service the needs of the region in many, many ways. So that was something that was really exciting. And I did not miss a single meeting of the Idaho Falls Auditorium District from the moment they were established until I was elected. Those meetings were interesting and informative. And as a part of that, I was able to attend the board members were doing research on various event centers throughout the United States, the western half of the United States mostly. But I was able to go to West Valley City, Utah, and take a look at the Maverick Center and understand and learn a little bit more about their operations there. And that really gave me some great insight. Later on that same year, I was traveling, taking one of my kids on a college tour, and we were at Boston University, and I remember an Idaho Falls resident met us and gave us, my daughter and I, a tour there, and also arranged for me to tour their hockey center and there on campus. And again, I was able to see similar themes and things that we had been talking about in terms of, ice space and locker room space and meeting space and all of the things that we were trying to integrate into the Auditorium District Event Center. So I'll just also give you a little more background, and that would be that at the time, we were one of only 3 auditorium districts in the state, and state law allows for the formation of an auditorium district when the voters approve that, and it also will allow the auditorium district to collect tax revenue, and that tax revenue comes as a charge, or up to a 5% charge on a hotel room night. And so it's paid by tourists. This is something that I've noticed that the current IFAD Board of Directors and leadership refer to as the TRT, or the transient room tax. And so if you hear that, know that those tax dollars are being collected from tourists, from visitors to our community, and then put to good use in the form of serving this community and meeting our needs, and hopefully even attracting more tourists. So it's a great model. And if any of you have ever traveled elsewhere, you've paid those kinds of tourist fees for rooms or rental cars or other things. And so it's a good model, and it's one that doesn't tax locals at all. And yet we are going to benefit from this venue when it is built. Let me also just tell you that, and I've made this case many times, but Idaho Falls is the largest city outside of Boise. And in the Boise metro area, there's Boise, there's Meridian, there's Nampa, and then you have to come all the way to Idaho Falls to get to the 4th most populated city in Idaho. We are the largest in eastern Idaho, of course, and we're also the regional hub for residents traveling not only from other parts of Idaho to come to Idaho Falls, but Wyoming and Montana. And they come primarily for 3 reasons. They come for retail, because we have a lot of opportunity for shopping. They come for medical care, because over the years we have minimized and reduced that leakage that we used to have when folks had to go to Salt Lake to get their delicate and intense medical issues taken care of. So they come here for the 3 hospitals and many experts and other medical offerings that we have. But then finally, they come here for entertainment. And that entertainment can be anything from the zoo to the Museum of Idaho to the Art Museum to the Auditorium to the shows that we see at the Colonial. We are already a hub. Well, once you throw in the events center, then it becomes not just another venue for entertainment, but it introduces something that we saw really being a powerful economic driver in West Valley City. It brings in more hotels. So these guests don't just come and have dinner or buy gas. They also come and they'll spend the night. And so this event center has sort of that multiplier effect or a synergistic effect on the tourism dollars that can come in to our community. And so it's good growth because it keeps Idaho Falls dollars from leaving town and it brings more into town. And so we end up with more local prosperity because we will have an event center. So I guess I just wanted to plant that seed and that idea into your mind that this is not just somebody's wish list or fun thing to do. This is serious business. This matters to an awful lot of business folks. So today we are able to hear from 3 principals who will give you all kinds of good information and help to teach the various facets of expertise and knowledge and reasoning and thinking that has to go into doing this responsibly for our community. You're going to hear from Terri Gazdik. Terri currently serves as chair of the Idaho Falls Auditorium District Board. There are 5 board members. Terri is the longest serving member of that board. She was appointed to take the place of one of the original board members, Jeff Sayer. Jeff Sayer, you'll recall, was an Idaho Falls resident who was basically called up to go to Boise and serve as our state's director of the Department of Commerce. So when Mr. Sayer left, Terri was tapped. She came in as a volunteer, and she hasn't left. She's rerun for office, and her current term will expire in 2025. These are 6-year terms, and they're not paid, and so her volunteer work is substantial. Not only does Terri volunteer with the Auditorium District, but she's also on the regional, now I always get this confused, the redevelopment agency, which oversees our urban renewal efforts in town. So she understands growth and she understands how to do it strategically. So we're very fortunate to have her. You'll also hear from Rob Spear. And Rob Spear came to Idaho Falls Auditorium District in 2019. He's been with us, I guess, 2 years this month. And he has, the MBA, he's got the business experience, but he's an administrator, I think, whose skills are they're just a step above what I've seen. He's the 3rd director for the Idaho Falls Auditorium District, but he hands down has been the best director in terms of getting stuff done and doing it, again, intelligently with a great head for business. And speaking of business, your final speaker today is going to be Mario Hernandez. And you can't throw a rock in Idaho Falls without hitting something that Mario hasn't impacted. Ever since he rolled into town and opened up the dealerships for Toyota and, is it Honda? Yeah, Volkswagen. I was there when we opened up the Volkswagen. Anyway, ever since he rolled in and opened up those dealerships, he has been giving back in so many other ways. I tapped him to help us with the establishment of the College of Eastern Idaho, and he stepped up readily. His enthusiasm for contributing to community, it really knows no bounds. He and his wife do so much good. I could go on and on about the Hernandezes, and I better not because I need to sit down. These guys need their time to talk. But you're in for a treat to hear from these experts and these folks who serve our community so well. Take it away.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Casper. You did a great job. You know more about this project than I do, and you've been with it for as long or longer, I should say, than I have. So thank you for having us today. We have been very busy this past year, and we're excited to bring you up to date on our progress. So much has happened around Idaho Falls and in the world this past year, and a lot of what's happened, people were shut down and they were hunkered down, and really thinking that they couldn't really make progress on things. And that was just the opposite of what happened with the Idaho Falls Auditorium District. We took the challenge of what was happening to us with COVID and we turned it into a chance for opportunity. We could see that there were things happening that would allow us to take hold of those opportunities, such as lower interest rates and perhaps windows in our construction schedule that would allow us to move forward. And we took that downtime and we made progress, and we're really excited to share with you where we're at today. Let's see, I'll move our slide here. So today we're going to talk about what the Mountain America Center is and what activities it'll support. We're going to talk about the progress that we've made and our estimated cost and the construction schedule for us, and also where there's potential for collaboration. Our Mountain America Center, which is named for our major naming rights donor, is a multi-purpose event center, and it's located in Snake River Landing. If you're not familiar with where the site is, you can drive down Pioneer Road. It sits right next to I-15. It's a great location. And last year, ending early last year, we completed the construction of Pioneer Road and Event Center Drive so that we had access to the site. And in doing so, we were able to approve early construction on the site itself. And so the site itself, when you drive over there, you'll see 22 acres of land that is ready to build on. And so a lot of money and time has already been put into building the facility, even though you don't see anything above ground. The facility itself will seat up to 6,000 people, which is unlike anything we have in eastern Idaho at all. It is indoor seating for that many people, and there's a lot of demand for that. 27,000 square feet of arena space, which will include an ice rink, and banquet facilities with 11,000 square feet. So sit-down seating with food service for in 11,000 square feet. We have 5 flexible convention meeting rooms and a multi-purpose arena, along with corporate suites and loge boxes in the design. So the kinds of activities and events that we're looking forward to having at the center, we anticipate being able to reach approximately 120,000 people each year that will visit the facility. In the studies that we've had done through various groups, we know that the reach of our area will encompass about 450,000 people in our geographic region that we're able to draw from. So southern Montana and western Wyoming and south of Idaho Falls, that whole area makes up 450,000 people. We expect to see 120,000 of those people in our facility each year. For things such as community outreach events, so science fairs, events that encompass engineering, mathematics contests, information events, and health and safety conferences, industry expositions, any kind of trade show, honestly, and trade show. Got ahead of myself there. Professional conferences. So with all the seating that we have available, we have the ability to have large groups in there for seminars and again, because we have eating facility for dinner and presentations. In addition to, we have the ability to, of course, have hockey. That's one of the main reasons that we have this facility and we're building this facility is to have amateur hockey, with the hope after having amateur hockey that will grow to be able to support a professional team at some point. We have in the design, the rink has a removable floor And so we'll have the ability to haul in dirt and have rodeo. Things like basketball, which we know in eastern Idaho we have a big demand for the ability to have tournaments that encompass a number of teams. We don't have facilities, and we often have to go to western Idaho for that. With this a center in place, we won't have to do that. We'll have wrestling tournaments, basketball, ballroom dancing. There are a lot of things out there that require a lot of space that we're just not able to accommodate here. And of course, concerts and specialty entertainment, Disney on Ice, which will be amazing to have, different comedians and musical groups, concerts, things like banquets and community programs, as well as corporate events. So the outlook for what we'll be able to do with this facility is immense. And the demand is unmet at this point, and that's why we're building this. And that's why Idaho Falls decided to pass a district and to put it in place and start collecting this tax so we could do so. Of course, our progress was impeded last year because of COVID. Our support comes from transient room tax, as Mayor Casper mentioned, which is a 5% tax on room nights in a hotel. And that is our only source of revenue other than private donations. So with COVID, we were absolutely hit hard. And the interesting thing about this facility and this district is there was no government bailout or subsidy for us. So a lot of industries found that they were able to apply for, through the CARES Act, through different subsidy programs, they were able to apply for money to replace what they had lost. And we were not. There was nothing set in place to help replace the revenues that we lost last year, which were roughly over $1 million. At one point, our tax collection hit 25% of what it had been the year before. So we definitely felt a downturn. I'm going to let our executive director cover this in more detail as far as COVID. We know we're emerging from that. We're seeing improving tax collections this year, up to the point of 95% of where we were in 2019. So we're really encouraged by those numbers, and we know that things are on the upward trend. Our executive director, Rob Spear, is with us today. He's been just such an important part of making things happen this past 2 years. He shoulders a lot of the responsibility for this project, and honestly, we wouldn't be where we're at today without him. So I'm really excited to introduce him to you, and I'll let him share more with you at this point. Rob?
Can I have the clicker?
Oh, yeah, that would help.
Well, Terri, thank you so much, and certainly we appreciate your leadership and what you've brought to the district. Mayor, thank you for being here today. It's always comforting to me when we get on those early morning calls, and I always see Rebecca Casper is zooming in. So as Terri said, and one of the things that she mentioned here, as you look through those lists of activities, I think it's really important to point out that this is a multi-purpose event center. I know when I've been interacting with people, a lot of people think it's just going to be a sports arena, and it's so far from that. When you look at the number of events and event days in this arena, it'll roughly be about 160 event days a year. Probably 40 of them will be athletic related, so just 25%. So that means 75% of the activities are going to be available to serve all the demographics here in Idaho Falls. So as Terri mentioned, COVID did have an impact, and one of the things I would like to do here is show you this slide about our revenues. And you can see here, we always base our revenues on 2019, which was our best year ever. And 2019 is one of the things that we're very focused on because, again, that's our base. So the blue indicates where we were with our 2019 levels. And you can see here our fiscal year starts in December, ends in November. So that period in the blue, very good year for us. We started in 2020, the orange. We started off December, January, February. We were moving in a positive direction. We were exceeding our revenues from the prior year. And then that thing called COVID-19 hit. And so you can see what happened in March. And as Terri referenced, in April, it was 22% of normal. And then we started to climb out of this as we opened up the economy a little bit more. And so it was very encouraging to see how we grew out of this. And that's what that is a credit to this area. There's so many things to do, and people come to this area. They go to the national parks. And so we finished 2020 on a strong note. And so around October, November, we said, okay, what can we do here? It looks like we're going to climb out of this. We've fared a lot better than most people that are relying upon hotel tax revenue or room revenues. And so we decided to pursue some other things. I do want to point out, as the chair mentioned, December, January, February, good months. We're getting close to 95% of where we were in 2019. So we're moving in a positive direction. One of the things that we did is certainly COVID impacted our revenues, but it was really important for us to say, what can we do during this pause to reevaluate this facility to make sure that we're going to provide a safe atmosphere, a safe environment for the people who come into the Mountain America Center. So one of the things that we found out is ASHRAE, which is American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning Engineers, a big name, but it's said one of the primary strategies for controlling the spread of infectious pathogens is bringing in the right outside air. So everything that we did, we hired a consultant to go out and say, what can we do differently with the HVAC system? What came out of that is really 5 strategies. 3 of them were structural. We call them mitigation strategies. And you can see that when we base things on air exchanges per hour, the actual event center is going to have 1.9 air exchanges per hour. A hospital room has 2 air exchanges per hour. The actual conference center is going to even have a better ratio, and that's going to be 3.8 air exchanges per hour. So the key is to get as much fresh air, outside air in this facility as possible. And so we made sure that the new air handling units were going to be able to accommodate these air exchanges. The other thing we did is increase filtration. Went from a MERV 8 filter to a MERV 13 filter. And that is something, it's a thicker filter. It's going to provide the air circulation and those pathogens to be trapped in there. And then the third one, which was probably the most costly mitigation strategy, was to incorporate what's called ultraviolet germicidal irradiation, UVGI lights. So we put these in the air handling unit, air comes through, the UVGI lights zap these pathogens, and again, creating a very safe environment. From an operational standpoint, 2 very important things that'll happen is air flushing before a major event. After a major event, we'll flush the facility with fresh air, and make sure that is, we again incorporate as much outside air as possible into the facility. And then of course, we'll have a very robust surface cleaning program when the operator is cleaning up after events. So COVID, did it impact us? Absolutely. Were we able to recover and do some neat things? We certainly did. So let's take a look at some of our progress. I know we mentioned this early construction that we did. This is a rendering, actually a picture of Pioneer Road, Event Center Drive, where the facility is going to be located. And so the district took it upon themselves to be aggressive here and invest in this early construction activity. It was very important for a couple reasons. One is this land was donated by Ball Ventures, and we want to thank them very much for their contribution and their partnership in this project. But with this property, we had some uncertainty in regards to the soil. This was pasture ground. There's a lot of lava rock in this area. We needed to make sure we removed that. We were really uncertain what that entailed, how much it was going to cost, even though we had the right geotechnical studies. So the board said, well, let's take this and create a certainty. Let's eliminate all these unknowns. So we went forward, did the early construction. As you can see, we spent $2.7 million on the pad. That includes all the underground utilities, light pole bases. We have the parking lots ready for paving. And then, of course, we have the Event Center Drive that we partnered with Ball Ventures to construct that road. And then, of course, redo Pioneer Road, which is a $1.6 million figure there from the corner of Event Center Drive all the way down to the end. So this project is as shovel ready as any project in the country. So we completed this last fall in anticipation that we'd be able to move forward with vertical construction. So a little bit more on progress. We have developed a financial plan. A year ago in March, when we thought our revenues were going to continue to climb, we had hired a bond underwriter. We engaged in a financing plan. And then, of course, unfortunately, COVID hit, and we weren't able to move forward with that plan because there was no investor that was going to loan us money given the uncertainty caused by COVID. But anyway, we have hired the bond underwriter. We are currently negotiating with an investor. We are getting to the closing stages, and we feel very good about where we're moving here to try to find a way to finance this project. We have, quite some time ago, the district entered into a construction manager, general contract arrangement with Bateman Hall Hogan, and they've done a wonderful job. We've hired we finalized an operating agreement with Centennial Management. They will be the entity that will come in and manage this facility for us. And then, of course, the last thing that we did here is get a final guaranteed maximum price. And again, we had one a year ago. We had to let that go. We decided to go forward again. That process started in really December, started January. We started sending out the bid packages, and we received another final guaranteed maximum price at the end of March. And what that means is this number is what it's actually going to cost to construct the facility, the actual construction costs. And as we move forward, you'll see the gap that we have. We are very fortunate. A year ago, this final guaranteed maximum price came in at $50,700,000. They came in at $50,700,000 this year. A year ago, it came in at $50,252,000. So roughly a $450,000 increase. When you consider material costs and all the things that are happening right now, we feel very fortunate to have a guaranteed maximum price in that $50.7 million, $51 million range. And it's really important. The district, we seem to have always been chasing this final guaranteed maximum price, and now we've almost caught it. And so now we need to grab it, and we need to proceed and move forward. So this was the gap that I was talking about. We have roughly, it's going to be about a $56.5 million project. You look at the 50 plus million in construction. Certainly we have some FF&E, have to supply all the furnishings, fixtures, and equipment in the facility. So that's roughly a $4 million package. We have some additional architectural and engineering costs. So when you look at our really all-in costs, we're about $56,500,000. We have the ability to get to 54, a little bit more than 200,000. So that leaves us a gap of about 2.1 million. Now we're very fortunate that we were able to get that gap to 2.21 million with the generosity from Admiral Beverage and Pepsi, certainly the Teton Auto Group, Cooper Norman, the MDU Foundation. Now, we have a number of proposals outstanding, and we're aggressively trying to close those proposals because the faster we can close those and get this gap closed, the sooner we can convince the investor that we're a good bet on moving forward. So, economic impacts. Certainly this thing, we talked about it, the mayor's talked about it, Terri referenced it, but when you look at raw numbers here, about $121 million in projected economic impact for this community. It's going to create 400 construction jobs, 130 new and full and part-time jobs. That's significant. That's something that's going to be here for a long period of time. So people always ask about timeline. Okay, what are you doing? Where are you at? And so here is our current timeline. We're working hard. We really started, we've been working on fundraising for quite some time, but once we found that we were going to have a path forward in regards to our financing plan, we really hit the ground running hard. And so, from January and through May, we need to close that financial gap that I showed. In March, we did receive that guaranteed maximum price, as I've indicated. If all goes well and we can move forward, we have a confidence level that we're going to close that gap. We are going to hopefully close on this financing plan, sell these bonds, and then as early as May, we could possibly begin construction. And then in October of 22, the facility would open. So in the meantime, we're looking for partnership opportunities. So there's certainly some naming right opportunities available. There's some entryways. There's ability to purchase a suite and get a name on a suite. There's ability for everybody in this community to step up and be part of this and contribute to this project. We have a legacy campaign going right now where you can, as a community member, buy a seat, buy a paver, contribute to get on the donor wall. Be part of this project because it will be, I want people, when they come into this arena, to be able to see your name, your business on the donor wall, on a seat, and recognize, and you could look back proudly and say, you know, I was part of this. I helped get this thing across the finish line. So we have a lot of opportunities from a naming standpoint. We do, as I mentioned, we have about a $4 million commitment for FF&E, so there's certainly some room to help us with some audio-visual equipment, other things, video boards. And then, of course, once this thing gets open, there'll be the opportunity for these yearly sponsorship contributions to support a bunch of community-based programs. So with that, I want to thank you for tuning in today. And as I mentioned earlier, we were able to close our financial gap because of the generosity of Teton Auto Group, the Hernandez family. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you today the leader of that group, Mario Hernandez. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Pretty exciting times. I want to thank all you Rotarians, fellow Rotarians, for taking the time during your meeting to talk about this exciting topic. You know, when we first started looking at this, I've been a supporter of it since it was announced, and what level we wanted to get involved with, and how and why. I always run a little test. Is it good for the community? Is it good for our customers? Is it good for our employees? And is it good for our business? And of course, our family, we looked at that, and this meets all the criteria, the why we would want to be involved. And I tell you, the timing and the time is now with what we've been through this last year and what we've been dealing with, and this project's momentum is really starting to peak, and it's an exciting time to be involved and really push it over. We're down to the last few weeks here, really, and the location, which has been mentioned, location. We're right off I-15. We're in Idaho Falls. We have this dynamic impact economic growth that we're experiencing in Idaho and especially in eastern Idaho. It is a fun time to be here and be part of this. You know, we just had our 16th year anniversary here in Idaho Falls, and I've never seen the movement in this economic sphere here in 16 years. It's fun. The Snake River Landing is the right place, the visibility and everything that's going on there, and we certainly have the right people involved. Terri Gazdik, certainly at the head of this, is got the right background experience. She's dedicated. She signed up for another till 2025, and sometimes I shake my head at these folks who continue to volunteer and just get this done. Rob Spears has been a breath of fresh air and put additional energy into the project. So we've got the right people. The board of directors are committed to this program, and all the work that's been done, all the groundwork, we're ready to go over the edge there. The time is now. The arts, music, sports, promotions, and business will be done at this center. We have more hotel rooms now than we had 10 years ago when we started this project, and 10 years from now, we're going to have more hotel rooms then. But to be able to invest our personal money and put that effort into this facility is really what's going to take us over the edge. All the work that's been done is now coming to the time for us there. So I want to finish with a call to action. I would encourage any of you who want to talk to me to feel free to give me a call. If you want any additional insight or why you feel it, if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them from my perspective. But the call to action is let's finish this thing. We've got really 6-8 weeks more of fundraising. I'm excited about all the prospects that are out there right now, and I really think that Rob and the board and the folks behind this are going to get this done. So I appreciate again being able to talk with you today and your time and effort, and I'll look forward to seeing you hopefully soon at the new event center here in Idaho Falls, sooner than we think. Thank you.
Wow. Are you guys so excited? Now, Rob, we have a series of questions for you. You didn't think you were going to get off this easy, right? Let me start because the first question is, when will you start booking events for local organizations?
Well, that's a question that we all are anticipating, and so we anticipate that once we are able to start construction is when we'll start encouraging people to get involved and start booking events. That's one of the reasons we hired an operator, Centennial Management. They will have the responsibility for booking the center. I know they're going to be up and running. And as a matter of fact, one of our obligations as a district starting in August is we need to enter into an arrangement for pre-operating services. So we're going to get them on board as soon as possible, and they'll be responsible for booking those events. But it will happen soon after construction starts.
Perfect. Okay. Another question from one of our viewers. Do we have enough hotel room capacity to service this event center? And do you anticipate additional hotel room growth?
One of the things that the district engaged in as we moved towards financing is we hired another consultant called Hunden Strategic Partners. They did a study back in 2017 where they evaluated all the hotels and the capacity in the area. And so we engaged them again. They just issued their report here. We received the final report just early April. And one of the things they indicated, they see additional growth. They see additional room for additional hotels to be in the area. I know if you looked at the master plan in Snake River Landing, you will see some areas that can be identified for possible hotel additions. So we currently have capacity. We think the event center is certainly going to create a need for more room nights. Room nights, by the way, that the Hunden study identified that say they won't displace the room nights we already have. So any hotel that comes in the area will add to the room nights available. But right now we have capacity, but we expect that with the event center that additional capacity will be needed.
And we have one last question, but a number of thank yous. First, thank you, Mario and family. Our community is lucky to have you and your family in Eastern Idaho. And also another thank you, Rob and your team. Thank you for the investment in the health of people who will come to the center. That seemed to be trending really well on our feed. But last question, are you including energy efficient and recycling techniques at the facility?
Absolutely. We would be foolish to embark on a construction project in this day and age that wasn't going to be a LEED certified facility. And so we're very aware of the need to engage in recycling and doing all the things necessary to preserve the environment. And we're going to make sure that as a district, we're going to continue to maintain our social responsibility in that regard, and we will incorporate any of those activities now and into the future.
Wow, what a presentation. Rotarians, I'm sure that you have learned something new here. I would invite you to share this recording, share this video with your friends and family and our local community members, because we're so close, so close. So again, I would like to thank Terri, Rob, Mario for joining us today. Terri, you were always welcome to Rotary. You were a little outnumbered. Everyone who spoke today are Rotarians. Terri, this is where the cool kids are. We hope that you join us again sometime soon. Little pressure. For those of you that maybe you haven't been receiving our emails, if you have not been receiving regular updates for topics like this, put a comment in the on our Facebook feed right now. We'll make sure to get that resolved because we want you to know when our fabulous programs and speakers are going to be joining us. And please join us next week as our club kicks off the very first classification talk. This is a new concept for our club that you see a lot of different clubs around the country doing, but we will be learning more about two of our fellow Rotarians, Mr. Kevin King and Michael Blennis. So we look forward to seeing you there on Zoom next week. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.